Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for a little Tuesday dose of Chelsea FC news. If you are not yet subscribed to GBFC, then I would love to ask you to do so. And whilst you're at it, it is the international break. I'm wearing a shirt with a cat just sat in my pocket. And I've got a fluffy squirrel thing around me neck, so everything is a little bit boring at the moment. It's international time. If you can hit a like button on today's video though, then I will be a very, very happy man. And so will this bloody cat who's here chilling, watching me talk about some Chelsea news. And of course, when it's the international break, we don't have any pressing matters to talk about in terms of Chelsea pinging balls across the pitch, usually keeping clean sheets and top of the Premier League. No clean sheet at the weekend, but Chelsea are top of the Premier League, 7 games in, having gone to Arsenal, gone to Spurs, gone to Liverpool, and beaten at home to Manchester City. But it's an incredible start to the season for Chelsea, defending European champions, coming after the Premier League title. Now, one player who will be very happy that he started against Southampton, and will also be content with the performance he put in as well. Callum Hudson-Odoi, back in the Chelsea team, back playing on the left-hand side, where we know he is at his best. Callum Hudson-Odoi is best in the left wing position. I'm sure Thomas Tuchel has known that. He's just been trying to get the best out of other players in that position. And I think for Callum, it has been a case of, we know that there is talent there. We just don't see enough end product as frequently as we would possibly like to. Now, Callum has played well in the last couple of games. He came off the bench against Juventus and was one of the brightest players on the pitch for Chelsea in a game where nobody really showed any real class and we were dominated defensively by a decent Italian side. Against Southampton, he was explosive. He was getting into good positions. No goal again, but Cesar Azpilicueta came up with 2 assists in that game, and it doesn't necessarily matter where the goals or assists come from as long as the team performance is something decent. Now, Gareth Southgate has apparently talked to Callum Hudson-Odoi, asking him about his thoughts on what to do with his international career. From next year, Callum Hudson-Odoi could choose to play for Ghana. Now, I think a lot of that will depend on the next couple of months at Chelsea. Whether or not he manages to keep hold of that position that we saw him playing against Southampton. I wouldn't say the Saints game was Chelsea's best performance, but what I will say is we did get the best out of certain players who might not have necessarily been at the top of the performance charts for quite some time. Callum Hudson-Odoi being one of them. Ruben Loftus-Cheek gets his first start, puts in a great display as well. And I would like to see Callum play more in that left wing position. Christian Pulisic, hopefully when he comes back from injury, we can see him come back to form. And I think it could well be between both Callum and Christian Pulisic, and maybe even a Mason Mount too. There's a lot of questions at the moment about what Chelsea's best starting 11 is. Maybe Romelu Lukaku is the man who has to miss out, because he's not really been bagging them in or putting in the best performances in the past couple of games. Timo Werner was man of the match against Saints at the weekend, but Callum Hudson-Odoi, I think, can be optimistic about the opportunities he may get. Sticking with the left-hand side of Chelsea's pitch, Ben Chilwell. Benjamin bloody Chilwell, as you guys know I like to call him here. He's been called up to the England squad as a result of Gareth Southgate. I don't know if he's even watching football to actually pick Reece James. Thomas Tuchel made a very funny comment in his press conference saying about how the only way that Reece James could be called up for England if it was for the water polo team, because Reece James is only training in the pool. Reece James is pulled out of the squad. Ben Chilwell comes in. Again, another classic Southgate move, bringing in a left back. And, you know, the right back's the one who's been disappeared. So, again, we can question that all we like. But Ben Chilwell called up again for England. And I'm very happy for this man. I talked about it in 6 Things We Learn. I think when Ben Chilwell got the chance to start this game against Saints, it was because Marcos Alonso had been very disappointing in both the City game and the Juventus game. And I think the fact that Chilwell scored that goal that secured all 3 points for Chelsea leaves him in very, very good stead to actually retain that position when we come back. Because if we look at the 4 fixtures we have after the international break, I haven't got it in front of my screen, but I think we've got Brentford away, Norwich at home, who haven't won, Newcastle, and Burnley, I think, are the 4 games we've got left. I'll put it up on the screen if I got it wrong. But it's definitely 4 winnable fixtures. Brentford have been amazing so far this season. They've only been beaten once in 7 games. But Chelsea have got to be looking at this thinking, we're currently top of the league. We finished November top of the league. Then we are seriously in with a chance of winning the title. And I think at the moment, game by game, if players aren't performing, we've got a big enough squad to pull people out. And then if players perform when they get given that chance, they should retain their place. And there's a lot of questions that will be asked when players like Pulisic come back from injury. Will Chilwell keep his place? What happens to Kai Havertz, Mason Mount, Hudson-Odoi, who we spoke about earlier, Timo Werner, who was brilliant against Southampton? So many questions, but they're all good questions. Chelsea have got enough depth, if I can get my words out properly. Let me take a swig of the old H2O. For Chelsea to be able to field different teams week on week based on opponents. And I think we might not have seen the best out of Chelsea yet so far this season, but the position we are in, it's looking very promising indeed. The next piece of news is kind of just an update to remind you guys it's the same old story regarding Toni Rudiger's contract. Real Madrid are waiting to see what the decision is from Rudiger as to whether he accepts the deal that Chelsea are proposing to him. There's been so much talk about the biggest clubs in Europe coming in for Rudiger. I'd argue that in 2021, he's probably been up there, maybe as the best defender in Europe. He's a European champion, kept so many clean sheets at Chelsea, conceded the least amount of goals currently in the Premier League too. Yeah, you could give it to Ruben Diaz, but he spends half his time on the floor as good as he can be. So, Rudiger, Real Madrid want him. Still no update as to whether that new Chelsea contract will be signed or will not be signed. The longer it goes on, the more worried we get. And it's now October the 5th, and January's coming soon. As soon as January comes, clubs are free to talk to Rudiger. Chelsea need to get this one done as soon as we possibly can. Now, the next news is regarding two players. And Marina Granovskaya is reportedly, supposedly, again, all this is, I like to rehash the speculation for you guys and give you my opinion. And as always, ask for your opinions in the comments down below. David Moyes, West Ham United, have slapped a £100 million price tag on Declan Rice. You guys know that I absolutely love Declan Rice. I've spoken about him many times here on GBFC, but there are two players that Chelsea are touted to be looking to sign in January to come in as an alternative for Declan Rice. Now, one of those players is Tchouaméni, who we've spoken about a lot this season. He won the Young Player of the Year in the French League last season, playing for Monaco. Really, really top talent. Chelsea are also linked with a player that I've not spoken about here on GBFC before, who I want to touch upon today, Christopher Nkunku. I think he was French-born with Congolese heritage. I'm not entirely sure if I'm correct with that one. I've not actually done the research, but Christopher Nkunku is some player. I've seen him play for Leipzig this season. He got a hat-trick away at Manchester City in the Champions League, and in the Bundesliga, he's played 7 games for Leipzig, scored 4 and conceded 2. The man can play in midfield or on the wing, and he could also be deployed as a striker. Now, what I'm hearing with this, and what I understand about this, is very fitting to what Chelsea have going on right now at the club, where sometimes it looks as though we're going with 2 strikers, sometimes it looks as though we're going with out-and-out wingers, or sometimes we've got a lot of defensive-minded players on the pitch, but competent wing-backs who get forward and seriously contribute to the attack. Now, with Christopher Nkunku, he is still young. He's still a very, very top talent, though, in the Bundesliga. He's had a wonderful start to the season, and with a market value, according to Transfermarkt, right now of around 43 million euros, we know that Leipzig are not going to be able to really try and command a fee anywhere close to the kind of region that West Ham United are currently asking for Declan Rice. You've also got the fact that Declan Rice is English, had a good Euros, and English clubs selling to other English clubs for English players. There is a premium price packet that is whacked on top of that. I'm not belittling the quality of Declan Rice here whatsoever, but the fact that Chelsea are being linked with Christopher Nkunku, and his agent, Pini Zahavi, has already spoken with Chelsea, with Real Madrid, and Manchester City also. So in terms of whether or not Chelsea are going to get the player, I think this really depends on whether or not we actually pick someone like Nkunku as a target, as number 1 target, because I think teams like Real Madrid in particular, if you look at Real Madrid, Barcelona, everything's in disarray in Spain right now. So if Real Madrid really look at Christopher Nkunku, make him a priority, then I see him going there. And at Chelsea at the moment, I think there's definitely going to be players that we might even see attempted to be sold in January. The Sauniguez loan deal, I don't think it's quite working out. One player that I do think might leave is Hakim Ziyech. Now, what you think about that, let me know in the comments below. I've made it absolutely no secret here on GBFC that I've expected a lot more from Hakim Ziyech on a more consistent basis. Do you think we could bring in somebody a bit younger, a bit more explosive in someone like Christopher Nkunku, or do we really home in on Tchouaméni, who is actually a ready-made central midfielder from France? But at the same time, there's always that little worry in the back of my head that, yes, he's doing a big job for Monaco right now in France, but we've seen players coming from Chelsea from Monaco before, and it's not quite gone the way we would have liked. I think Tchouaméni is a totally different ball-game level of player than Timi Bakayoko, but Chelsea will want to be careful, and I think Christopher Nkunku has looked fantastic. And the fact that we've been linked with him, the fact that his agent spoke to Chelsea already, gets me kind of excited. Who could be the kind of player to make way if Nkunku comes in? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments down below. I want to thank you guys for watching here today on GBFC. Thank you for your patience with some of the late uploads recently. Got a load of tier list videos. You guys left some comments yesterday saying you want to see the tier list come back. Those videos are a little bit longer. So, international break, no football to watch. I'm hoping to make some slightly longer form videos here for you all on GBFC so that you get your dose of entertainment. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new. Let me know your thoughts on all the players we talked about today in the comments, and I'll catch you all later. Come on, you Blues.